Samsung's Galaxy Tab 4 tablets come fresh from the oven and they're expected to offer a better experience from every angle compared with last year's. A Galaxy Tab is Samsung's most accessible offering towards the average customer, with the aim here being a good balance between price and quality. The Galaxy Tab 4 7.0 is the smallest and cheapest tablet in this year's trio. It features a 7-inch display, a quad-core CPU, a gig-and-a-half of RAM, and it runs Android KitKat topped off with Samsung's latest tablet UI, all at a very reasonable price point of US $199. This tablet sure sounds like it has a lot of potential, but does it fare so well in reality? Let's find out. The Galaxy Tab 4 7.0 is a sleek, solid, well-built tablet. It's also boring to look at, but this isn't of much importance. Once again, plastic is Samsung's material of choice. However, the Tab 4 looks and feels very sturdy. There aren't any creaks, shallow spots, or misaligned elements to distract from the Tab 4's simple functional look. The tablet has a unibody design with a metal binding around the outer edges that holds the construction tightly together. The only weak spot is the slightly wobbly home button, but this is nitpicking. Measuring roughly 7 by 4 by 0.35 inches at a weight of roughly 10 oz, this is a tablet that's a whole inch narrower than the Kindle Fire HDX 7 and is decidedly smaller than the Nexus 7 from last year. It's also slightly smaller than its predecessor, the Galaxy Tab 3 7.0. The Tab 3 and Tab 4 do share common design traits, but instead of overly smooth plastic, the Tab 4's back features a rugged texture which provides a better grip. In terms of ergonomics, the Galaxy Tab 4 is quite comfortable to hold in one hand, and holding it in portrait orientation with two hands is a possibility as well, although there is little real estate for your thumbs to rest on. That's the trade-off for the slim bezels. The display we have on Samsung's new 7-incher is pleasant to look at unless you happen to be under direct sunlight. That's the moment when the overly reflective glass becomes a true hindrance and the panel's maximum brightness of 374 nits isn't enough to alleviate the problem. Thankfully, the screen's viewing angles are great and the image is always consistent. Although the resolution of 1280 by 800 pixels is middling and the pixel density of 216 ppi doesn't sound very impressive, the Tab 4's display looks just fine in practice. Small text, including Asian characters, and little details remain readable. There's no visible pixelation, although there's a hint of fuzziness to icons and images with lots of fine detail. Still, it's hardly enough to bother even the most eagle-eyed among you. In terms of color reproduction, the Galaxy Tab 4 7.0 fares well, but not without considerable flaws. Although the display's color temperature is so close to reference, the colors aren't true, and in fact they are obviously desaturated. Hence the display doesn't pop like you would expect from a Samsung panel. It actually comes across as subdued. If you're a graphic designer, this definitely isn't a display you should be demoing your work on. We have to commend Samsung for its tablet UI. It nailed it. The first time we saw this new look that's quite reminiscent of iOS 7 was in the Galaxy Tab Pro 12.2. We're sure happy to see Samsung bring it over to its new range of tablets because this UI just works. It provides an uncluttered experience that feels friendlier than stock Android, but still respects Google's vision. We should also point out that Samsung acted smart and didn't try to turn a tablet that's obviously meant for light, mundane tasks into something more than it should be. Thus, you don't get any fancy gesture controls or highly ambitious apps, but the little you get in terms of proprietary enhancements is quality over quantity. The default apps such as Contacts, My Files, S Planner, Memo, Browser, Email, Music, Video, Alarm, and S-Voice are polished and feel like they belong to the experience. Whether you opt for them, Google's stock apps, or third-party solutions is entirely up to you, just like it should be. Unfortunately, it is the important performance department where Samsung's new 7-incher comes short. In theory, the Tab 4 7.0 has a better than average set of specs. A quad-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 CPU and a gig-and-a-half of RAM is nothing to frown at. In terms of memory, our version has 8GB of storage and about half of it is occupied by Samsung's belongings. Fair enough, but to our surprise, the Galaxy Tab 4 7.0 is not only far from being athletic, but it can get downright sluggish and unresponsive at times. There's a slight stutter in the menus and drawers which is always present, and the sluggishness can become overwhelming as the RAM memory gets filled up. The benchmark results confirmed our suspicions that Samsung either has some optimizing left to do, or the Tab 4 7.0 is destined to remain an underachiever. In each of our tests we saw the tablet unable to compete with the Nexus 7 from last year. The version which we have for review is the Wi-Fi only one, thus there's nothing special about the tablet in terms of connectivity. Its browsing performance is the same so-so ordeal as its general usage. Browsing is perfectly functional of course, web pages display correct and scroll reasonably quickly, but as a whole the tablet feels slow. At least Samsung's inbuilt browser and email clients are a decent alternative to Chrome and Gmail, provided you actually need one. It's also worth mentioning here that you will be treated to 20 GB of free Dropbox storage by buying the tablet. Both Dropbox and Samsung's own Samsung account system are integrated deep within the system and allow for features such as automatic backups. The 3-megapixel fixed focus main camera on the Galaxy Tab 4 7.0 turned out to be surprisingly good despite all its limits. Perhaps it was the warm sunny weather that did the trick, but the photos we took outside are quite satisfactory. Detail gets resolved well and the colors are reasonably sharp. Some of you will be pleased that Samsung has included some special camera modes such as beauty phase and sound and shot. The main camera also records 720p videos in MP4 format and they look pretty stellar. Meanwhile, the 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera is good news for video chatting. Of course, the Samsung Galaxy Tab 4 7.0 plays the most popular video and audio formats out of the box. Music sounds passable through the tablet's lone speaker. The inbuilt gallery app has some nice differentiating features such as the ability to edit and send your photos as postcards with your writing on them. There's also Samsung's Buddy Photo Share foreseen in the Galaxy S3. Samsung's 7-incher lasted an excellent 8 hours and 42 minutes in our battery test. This means that the tab will last a full 8-hour shift of normal usage and will have enough juice in the tank to use on your way home. With an accessible price of $199, the Galaxy Tab 4 7.0 would have made for an excellent purchase if its performance didn't leave so much to be desired. It would be a far-wide stretch to disregard the tab as unusable, but it fails to deliver the buttery smooth performance users should expect from a 2014 Samsung device that's running current hardware and an up-to-date version of Android. Although the Tab 4 7.0 is remarkably well built, comfortable to hold and with a sublime user interface, it simply isn't as seamless and pleasant to use like the Nexus 7 from last year. However, if general sluggishness, an undersaturated display and mediocre gaming performance aren't deal breakers for you, the 7-inch tab is great in all other regards. And who knows, perhaps Samsung will deliver an update to make it perform more admirably. After all, the Snapdragon 400 with a gig and a half of RAM should pack enough power to turn any well-optimized 7-inch tablet into a smooth ride. This is Luis from PhoneArena, thank you for watching our review.